thanks. Well, I think we should jump now to some of the questions that people in the audience have asked. The question with the most votes is from Catherine. Will the UN ever be able to reform to overcome the limitations caused by the Security Council and those who can veto actions? The existing structure defeats the purpose of the organisation when it comes to preserving world peace. Will it ever change? Can it change?
Well, I don't know, because the debate about change has been going on for decades. When I was PM, it was very live. Kofi Annan made a huge effort to get member states to focus on reform of the Security Council. There's long been a proposal around to augment the permanent membership, and it was driven by a club of four, and the club of four was India, Brazil, Japan, and Germany. The problem was the club of four had an opposing club of four, and broadly speaking, opposed to India would have been Pakistan, China. Opposed to Germany was Italy, which said it was as big. Opposed to Brazil was Argentina, and opposed to Japan again were Korea and China. Then, because the four were making a push, Africa said they needed a permanent seat. I mean, Africa always has 2 seats on the Security Council, but when people talk about a permanent seat, they want a veto. Well, the Council's paralysed now with 5 states with a veto. So how many more vetoes do you want to add before you get not just, paralysis, but permanent paralysis? Probably had permanent paralysis. And Eastern Europe was demanding a permanent seat as well. So, the debate runs into the rocks around all this. Then there were attempts to constrain the use of the veto. And actually France put up a good proposal around, where there was genocide, that there would be refraining from use of the veto by the permanent members. But then, will we get agreement on what is genocide? If genocide, quote unquote, because it is a very high test to meet, has been used with respect to a range of conflicts, including the Ukraine one. So the chances of getting Russia, of course, to agree to restrain itself there at the moment are not great. So it's very difficult, is my answer to Catherine, and don't expect change anytime soon.
Yes. Next question is from Carol, and it's about the climate discussions at Davos. She asks if the concept of just transitions features significantly in the discussions about climate at Davos. At Davos.
Yes, in a nutshell, yes. Because really no one seriously thinks the transition can be done cold turkey. There has to be a planned phase out of fossil fuels. It needs to be accelerated, by the way. But of course, this has implications. A lot of people are employed in coal, not so much in the technology, capital intensive production, but still, in the production and distribution of coal, there's jobs. Spain phased out its coal sector quite rapidly in recent years, but it did it with a regional development package. We need to phase out coal in New Zealand, but it's going to need a regional development package for the West Coast and for Huntly, plain and simple. When New Zealand government announced an end to exploration for oil and gas offshore, that had immediate implications for the Taranaki region, where there's a significant support industry for that exploration. Again, the government announced a regional development package. As Germany looks at its strategy for decarbonising and phasing out coal, clearly there's the Ruhr Valley and heaven knows where else where there's been coal produced for a long time. Got to be regional development packages. This is one of the reasons why UNDP has taken up the issue with its oil and gas producing countries, that they need to be starting to plan now for what happens when the demand drops away and there's not going to be a market for their oil and gas. Invest now, invest wisely in where your economy is going to go for the future. So yes, just transition is very much at the top of, I would say, everybody's minds, and should be here as well.
Great.